There come moments when nature is no longer a gentle and caring mother to all living things. The wind turns into a roaring gale, streets become rivers, roofs get blown away, and everything familiar becomes insane. Today, let us look at phenomena in nature that happen once in a million. A terrifying sight. It seems as though a huge tsunami is about to crash down on the rooftops. In fact, it is a tsunami cloud, a rare phenomenon that signals the approach of extreme weather conditions. If you notice something like this, quickly look for a safe shelter. The storm will definitely arrive. Number 9. A small avalanche swept across the territory of Trent Camp on Everest. Fortunately, its scale did not harm those who had set up camp there. Number 9. Visibility has already dropped nearly to zero, but the snow continues to fall. Now finding your way in this white maze becomes a very difficult task for drivers. The only way is to drive slowly and always be ready for surprises. The wind was howling, and the waves were crashing against the deck with such fury that they seemed to want to break the ship in the middle of the ocean. But its sturdiness and iron nerves can rival the power of the elements. Regardless of the strength of the waves, the ship remains stable on the waterline and continues forward. Here is a fitting motivational picture. Stay strong in spirit, and you will overcome any storm. Faced with pounding waves, these houses seem so tiny and helpless. Admit it, it is frightening to watch the sea take over the streets. And what if your house stood on one of them? A portal to another dimension opened on the Saint-Malo Dam in France. The real cause of this mysterious whirlpool is the collision of two opposing currents, creating a powerful vortex. This phenomenon usually occurs in narrow straits where strong tides arrive. They say that water can achieve its goal by any means. In this case, it was only a matter of time. The house was gradually undermined by the current and finally collapsed into the water in an instant. Another demonstration of the power of water, which is impossible to resist. A tornado column suddenly appeared on the highway, causing drivers to panic. Whatever happens, do not leave your car, try to remain calm, and find a safe shelter. Skiing in a snowstorm takes intense sensations to an entirely new level, making this already adrenaline-fueled sport even more extreme. Have you ever been caught in bad weather on a ski slope? The storm arrived like an uninvited guest and blew the trampoline right out of the yard. Life is always full of surprises, and we are only learning to be prepared to accept them, even if you have to watch in resignation as the storm frolics on your property. In the middle of a freezing lake, the author of this video was kayaking when they suddenly encountered a terrifying phenomenon. The thick ice instantly cracked into long shards. This is called the ice candle effect. They form when ice melts vertically, creating thin needle-like crystals. Ice candles appear in spring, when rising temperatures weaken the bonds within the ice mass. The structure of such needles is very fragile, but they are as sharp as broken glass, and therefore dangerous. Walking on the ice at this time is risky. Even the slightest agitation can lead to a sudden fracturing of the ice into crystals. And in general, if you are not sure about the stability of the surface under your feet, you should not step on it. A giant chunk of ice has just cracked and crashed into the water. Someone was lucky enough to capture this striking documentary moment on camera. Once again, Mother Nature amazes us with a breathtaking display of her incredible power. Observing glaciers is a thrilling experience. We just have to realize that in doing so, we are irretrievably losing our pristine reserve of fresh water on the planet. Nature's light shows will never cease to amaze us. The aurora is one of the most spectacular among them. Auroras occur in polar regions when electrically charged particles from the sun, known as the solar wind, collide with the Earth's magnetic field. They interact with oxygen and nitrogen and ignite, creating stunning colors. The aurora can paint the sky in green, red, and purple, depending on the type of gas and the altitude of the reaction. An unfinished house could not withstand the flow and collapsed under the onslaught of the flood. We hear the distressed exclamations of the residents. After all, construction materials cost something. Such a pillar from the sunset could very well remind one of a scene from a science fiction movie about a mysterious other planet. Powerful gusts of wind suddenly turn a cozy outdoor cafe into chaos. It all happens in a matter of seconds, and luckily, no one was hurt. Every second of filming this stunning panorama could become a great poster, and here we admire the process as nature paints pictures with the power of lightning. A moment not for the faint of heart. A man was standing next to a house when suddenly lightning struck right beside him. So he backed away in panic. Quite a stroke of luck. Here's another variant. A sudden flash of lightning lit up the house, causing it to catch fire instantly. Do not stand near windows or electrical appliances during a storm. Nummer 1. Taking shelter under a tree during a storm can be a dangerous decision. Tall trees work like natural lightning rods. They are more likely to attract lightning than to protect you from it. The rarest and most striking phenomenon occurs when the trunk of a tree ignites from within after a lightning strike. Lightning, which has a temperature 5 times higher than the surface of the sun, creates intense pressure inside the trunk. This causes the fire to rage inside, while the outside of the tree remains lush and green. Sometimes, this is exactly why an entire forest can burn to the ground in an instant. Let us hope that immediately after filming, the author of the video called the fire department. The sky over the city of Davenport in the state of Mississippi turned bright orange due to a large-scale fire caused by a lightning strike. What can we say? It looks beautiful, but it is not optimistic. Do you like fried bananas? But no, the lava spares no chance. It devours everything in its path. It is best to move to a safe distance, far from that infernal kitchen. While cars were drifting along in the black, murky waters of the flood, some people felt like that day was the end of the world. Yes, it is a heartbreaking scene, but remember, no matter how difficult it is, we can always get up and start. A trip on the 16th of September in the Chinese province of Lishan became an unforgettable experience for this driver when everything suddenly went wrong. More precisely, it went flying downhill. His ability to handle the situation is impressive. In the moment when one's heart should have frozen in fear, he quickly hit the brakes and held the wheel, perfectly controlling the situation, thus ensuring the safety of all passengers and the vehicle. Naturally, there were minor damages. The windshield and the side mirror were shattered by debris, but we give him a standing ovation. This episode is a good reminder that in such terrain, you need to be prepared for anything and keep a sharp eye on the road. The trip gave the creators of the video an unforgettable experience. They witnessed the moment when a section of cliff near Seatown suddenly collapsed into the sea, scattering dust and rocks around. Upon noticing the warning signs on the road, the drivers immediately stopped. Thanks to this, they avoided the approaching danger, but it was very close to trouble. A rock slide fell onto the supermarket parking lot. Dust and stones instantly covered the entire area. Fortunately, nobody was injured, including the cars. Nature chose a moment safe for people. Right now, we see the collapse of a cliff on the Kettle River, not only a breathtaking moment, but also proof that nature constantly changes the landscape, and this usually happens without any hint or warning. A dust devil, a dry whirlwind, unexpectedly visited a garden in the suburbs of Japan. Although the owner of the video was shocked by the loss of crops, he still managed to capture the entire event on film. That shows the strong nerves of the Japanese. A violent hurricane suddenly struck Texas. We see people taking shelter in a Walmart supermarket. A security guard shouts, "Run, run," so that no one remains under the flying debris and structures. This scene resembles a real disaster movie. Would you have panicked as well? An epic show illuminating the sky. It is simply a reminder. Nature always knows how to demonstrate its capabilities at the right time. Tourists on the island of Cyprus were stunned by a water spout 100 meters tall. It formed when warm, moist air moved under a cold, dry air mass that led to the creation of a vortex. Look how ominously everything darkened around. The road was washed away by the flood. This is a wake-up call about the importance of building proper drainage systems. We must be prepared to respond to climate change, particularly sudden and rapid floods. It looks amazing, does it not? Here is what awaits you in the Brazilian National Park, Bioluminescence. Quicksand is a mixture of sand, mud, clay, and still water. This phenomenon usually occurs in places with standing water or where there is groundwater. The surface may initially seem solid, but once you step on it, it becomes loose and soft. Once you are in this sand, you will slowly sink as the water and mud cannot support you. It may seem frightening, but in reality, you will only sink halfway, and you may even be pushed back up a bit. Without outside help, you would need about 100,000 newtons in units of pulling force just to pull out 1 foot from the sticky sand, about the same as it takes to lift a medium-sized car. A pleasant trip suddenly turns into a dangerous adventure when nature abruptly changes the scenario. Be mentally prepared that a vacation can go off plan, but sometimes life brings memorable impressions when we least expect it. Who is this mysterious prankster throwing tennis balls at the window of this house? The culprit behind the broken glass was hail in North Texas. Look at these giant spheres scattered everywhere. Fortunately, all of the farmers' horses were in their stables and remained safe. Sometimes the weather is such that instead of driving a car, it might be more fitting to navigate the streets by boat. A sudden mud flood struck the Quicksand region in Sweden in the form of muddy fountains. The event was recorded on camera by a local resident near her home. Fortunately, no one was injured except for minor damage to cars. A strange phenomenon of muddy hail was observed in Nebraska. We see how the flow spreads over vast areas at high speed. A sudden hailstorm turned the backyard into a shooting range. Everything that was lovingly created by the owners fell under fire. Now it is clear why they have metal furniture outdoors. I wonder if these clouds really intend to send a tornado funnel down to the ground or if they are just joking. For some reason, this driver's path unrelentingly intersects with the tornado's trajectory. It is as if they are magnetically drawn to each other. It would be wise for the eyewitness to stop filming in order to avoid a collision. The storm was so strong that in a fraction of a second, it flipped over a truck trailer. Fortunately, there was nobody in the vehicle, but we can only imagine the power of that wind. When the sky brings such a black cloud, it is clear that mercy is not to be expected from the coming storm. It is best to seek sturdy shelter and postpone all other matters. The most thrilling moment of the storm If you thought that such things exist only in movies, have a look at this real situation. Remember, the key to safety is staying calm. Remain at home, find secure shelter, and wait for it to pass. A storm struck the small town of Westmoreland, and an ordinary day turned someone's life upside down. But if the dashcam had not recorded it, nobody would believe it was possible, in 10 seconds, to wipe 20 houses off the face of the earth. According to the National Weather Service, it was an EF3 tornado. Fortunately, thanks to the swift reaction of local residents, the damage was kept under control. Everything ended in the blink of an eye, but it stood as a clear reminder of the invincible power of nature. Vacationers on the beach are in a panic. They start running only at the moment when the fierce storm is already hitting the Italian resort, turning a peaceful holiday into chaos. How could it strike so suddenly that people did not react in time? A heavy rain turned the landscapes of Northern California into a scene of chaos, when a muddy flow descended onto the land and swept away everything in its path, including tall trees. How can we underestimate the power of nature after that? Many-ton mud flows flooded a residential area in southern Spain. Not just a natural flood, but a warning that the climate is changing under human influence. It is time for us to take measures to protect the environment and ourselves. A street becomes a full-flowing river of mud as floodwaters rush along this convenient channel. This situation vividly illustrates the saying, "You cannot pass or drive here." Plants also demonstrate the power of Mother Earth. That is the case when nature quickly takes over abandoned things. Any empty space is filled with life. It is a mystery how this tree survived. It has almost lost its connection to its roots. And this hanging tree does not even touch the ground. Apparently, it feeds spiritually. It is a heartbreaking sight to see old and mighty olive trees being consumed by fire from within. They were deliberately set ablaze for a good cause, because the entire olive plantation is threatened by a bacterium nicknamed the olive grove killer. In Italy alone, millions of plants could die from the infection. The strain quickly spreads through insects that carry the virus from one tree to another. If a tree is already infected, it must be destroyed along with neighboring groups. May big fish and small fish all be caught, or lots and lots of tiny ones. Oh, thank you. Fish can end up on the shore for various reasons. For example, dolphins sometimes herd schools of fish into shallow water, and a strong current can suddenly throw an entire shoal onto the beach. An amazing performance by humpback whales, but it is merely a unique way of feeding. They create underwater nets from bubbles of air, and these spirals rise to the surface, trapping schools of fish, ensuring plenty of easy prey in one place. Thus, they do not waste time gathering big portions. Plus, whales carry out these complex tasks using teamwork. They are truly efficient hunters. Abundant feeding for them means survival, since their stomach can hold from 500 to 600 kilograms of food. This astonishing effect is not a natural phenomenon, but is produced by microorganisms. Thanks to the bioluminescent properties of plankton, we find ourselves in a fantastic world. The glowing sea takes your breath away, and its glow is alive. The plankton, which is less than 5 millimeters in size, lights up brightly when something disturbs it. The breaking waves, or a touch. An excellent form of psychotherapy, right? It turns out that legends about dragons are pure truth. Only over time, the monsters have shrunk. It is incredible how nature instilled a sense of coordination in birds. When a flock gathers on a tree, you do not expect such a fountain of emotion. Scientists believe that this is how migration begins. Someone must give the signal, and this tree apparently serves as a general meeting point. This is not a ball for moths, but a party of bats. Before their nightly hunt, they circle near their daytime roost, apparently waiting for latecomers, so that they can all set off together in a terrifying ride of the Valkyries. Imagine what it would be like to be inside that cave at dusk when they wake up. The owner of this car needs a personal weather forecast. If in northern countries fishing tournaments are organized in winter on the ice, then in Asia, a peculiar regatta has to take place in murky water. This lake in Oregon is called Lost Lake. Indeed, there could be no better name for it. It is located in a nature park near Mount Jefferson, and every year this body of water undergoes a remarkable transformation. Winter streams turn it into a full-fledged lake, but in spring, almost all the water drains out through an opening about 2 meters in diameter, so essentially, the lake disappears. The reason is the unique terrain formed by ancient volcanoes. Beneath the lake lies a network of channels known as lava tubes. When there is plenty of water, these tubes fill up and maintain the water level. But as soon as the streams stop feeding the lake, all the water flows into this natural drain. You can see such whirlpools during tidal floods. A wave starts swirling because it mixes water with different characteristics. This is not ice or snow, but precipitation in the form of sea salt. Real meltdown. Everything is melting, not figuratively, but like cheese in a frying pan. In weather like this, you could practically grill steaks without a fire. Why are we not using solar energy to its fullest potential? That is all for today. I just ask you to leave comments in support of our channel and to watch our previous episodes right now. Head over to the channel. There is a lot of interesting content there.